Hey everyone, Melissa here with The Creative Season, and welcome to this special bonus episode this week. I'm doing another Word of the Year project, was cleaning out the paints and grabbed some other color schemes. I actually don't show in the video when I'm writing in, but I wanted to show it in here because whether you're using this for Word of the Year, to write down poetry or Bible memory verses like I'm doing, or you even use it as a journal page, this project is so versatile. We're continuing to just ease into the year with really fun, gentle, inspirational projects, and I hope you enjoy this wonderful way to use your creativity and start the year. Hey everyone, welcome back. This is a special bonus episode that I'm releasing this week. I was just thinking of another another floral project for if you're doing a word of the year or a verse of the year, just another way of setting up a really fun art piece for it. And I always just think that doing creative things helps to reinforce. So if I'm memorizing something or really wanting to focus on something, just doing a creative project reinforces it in my mind. So I had seen my cousin a few weeks ago and she had given me this gift in this really beautiful bag, which I love this wreath on the back. We have a mixture of floral. We have a little bit of a winter feel, right, with the pines, but it's not overly winter, but it definitely has that feel to it. And I just thought, I love the simplicity and the fun. And I thought, okay, we're going to kind of use this as our inspiration for this project. I'm always getting inspiration from all sorts of places. I don't know where you like to get your inspiration for creativity from, but a lot of things will just jump out. And I have a new technique I want to try as well. We're actually going to do a sketch and then we're going to do a wash over the entire thing. Then we're going to come back and let it, and then add in the color. So I think this is just going to be a really fun, different way to do this project. I have some tape here because I always have trouble creating a circle. So I'm going to go ahead with my pencil now, and I'm about maybe a little bit higher than halfway on the paper. So this would probably be halfway. I'm just a little bit above, and I'm really just going to go ahead and sketch out this circle, and that's just going to be my guide. It's going to be my guide as I start to lay out what I want to do. And I think down here I'm going to have a beautiful flower. I am just going to outline it, so it's going to be maybe kind of almost like a peony, or looking on like a bit of a, yeah, kind of a peony kind of flower. This is going to be the center right here, and then I'm going to have my stems coming out this way. So I'm just, again, I am not too worried about getting things really exact. I've got a leaf here. We are going to do maybe some stems as if they were maybe some evergreens. If you wanted just to do stems, you certainly can. And then over here too, I'm going to have about 3 flowers. So we're going to have, this is going to be where our focal point is, and I'm going to have 1 flower here, and I'm just gently sketching it out. We're going to have the face of the flower almost looking upward. That's where the face is going to be. I'm going to have this flower tucking up behind it, and also looking up, but maybe to the other side, right? We're just creating some different looks here. We're going to have some petals over there, and then over here as well. I've got 1 more other flower, and I'm going to make sure with this flower it's almost all the way behind. Let me come in a little bit so you can see that sketch. And again, I'm just doing the outline so I know where I'm going to put some of those painting details. And on this flower, we're even going to say this one maybe is a little bit bigger, and maybe even that face is even facing up like that. So I like that. I like that a lot. We'll end up adding a lot of the detail with our shadowing, right? So we've got our flowers. I'm going to go ahead. We've got to have our leaves here. And on these leaves, I'm actually going to make it so we almost have a bit of the leaves coming out around it. On the bag, the flowers were just kind of holding, they're kind of almost floating, but I want them just to be a little bit more stable than that. So again, going ahead, wrapping some leaves around as you'd like to see, as you would like to just imagine these leaves. And then also, we're going to also think that this is a bit of our twiggy, our branches. So I'm going to go ahead and just lay out some branches. We'll end up taking micron pen and creating some other things. We have some almost loops, which might be some ribbon, it might be some other fun things. But again, we have just a sense of the outline. If you wanted to put, we'll end up putting some splatters, I think is what we're going to do around the outside, but I've got my layers here, I've got my initial sketch. I know where the main things are gonna go. We're gonna go ahead, and I'm actually not gonna put in the other details right now because I'm gonna end up erasing a lot of the pencil mark anyways. Now that you have that, grab some water and grab a larger brush. So maybe you have a brush like this, a round tip. It can be one more that is wider. It doesn't matter. We just need a bigger brush. Will make it a little bit easier to do that initial wash. And I think I'm going to create that initial wash with a, I think I'm going to do a yellow is what just going to do a nice warm yellow, and I have a little bit of a gamboge that's laying here. We're going to do some warmer colors because it is freezing outside, right? And we're just looking to warm up a bit. I don't have a lot of gamboge on here, but I have enough. And I'm going to just start doing a wash over the whole thing, the entire painting. Don't worry about avoiding anything. The idea is that we're going to create that base and then build it. Maybe you want to use a light yellow or you want to use a light pink. You want to avoid using anything opaque, right? So we wouldn't want to put that cadmium orange that I was using a bit of in the previous project as a wash because it doesn't play as well with other paints. So we're putting just a nice transparent color all over here. Now, if we wanted to, we could go wet on wet, but I'm not quite in the mood for that this morning. I want this to turn out a certain way, and wet on wet, it can go just a little bit crazy, right? We have seen that happen time and time again. So I'm going ahead and just using a more transparent color, and then I am going to go ahead, I'm going to let this dry. I don't need to let it dry for very long, but I want to get this all nice and dry so that I have some more control when I put down the rest of the paint. Okay, and this is going to be nice. We're going to end up using some nice dark greens in this. We're going to, for the flowers, we're going to think about what color we might want to put that, and I might do some more warmer colored flowers. So I might pull out some more warmer gamboge or red color. I am just going to blot my flowers just a little bit so that we bring a little bit more white back in those. That's the one part where I might want to keep some white. So feel free if you want to do the same thing and just blot your flowers with the paper towel. Okay, so now we're going to let that dry, and then we're going to come back in and start laying down really some of the lovely details for our beautiful floral wreath for our word of the year. Okay, so we are back and I have my papers nice and dry. Now I think what I'm going to do first off is I'm going to lay down some marks with my ink with the micron pen, and then I'm going to go ahead and erase before we start painting. So if you have a micron pen and you want to just go ahead and add in some detail, I'm putting on the little the petal, the flower face, that middle part. I am going to just go ahead and adding a little of that detail in right now. And I often think of my flowers as portrait, creating portraits of these beautiful flower faces and looking at the different angles and the different personalities that they have and what we're going to be, showing off or not showing, right? As we have different parts of the flower are hidden away. So again, I am just almost doing it's not peony season yet, but I think many of us feel that love for spring on the horizon, but all those beautiful flowers, just the promise of another season coming after the cold, right? So I think this is fun too for thinking about too, if you have like example, that word of the year, how it's going to bloom and change with the seasons this year, and how it, just like the flowers do, they all go through this different kind of growth and change every season, whether they are popping up in their full beauty or retiring till it gets warm again, right? Okay, so I'm just doing some different kind of flower and leaf formations here, figuring out too where I'm going to add in some of those details. And then I'm going to go ahead and erase all of my pencil marks. So we have those totally taken care of. And really my branches, I'm really going pretty loose here with some branches over here. I've got some branches over here. I do have a little bit, I'm gonna just do almost like a bit of an evergreen here. I have a lot of evergreen trees where I am, and it's actually nice because all the other trees are all bare and stark, but those evergreens, they are just, it is nice to have them, and they're pine needles. It is fun though. I don't know if you have a lot of bare trees where you are, but you see all the nests from the previous year. Isn't that interesting? Everything that we couldn't see in the robustness of spring and summer and even fall, it all ends up showing off in the winter time. All right, I'm just kind of adding in some other leaves here and just doing a very light sketch, and I'll go ahead and come back in. And again, because we had created that ring, that really gives us a nice viewpoint, right? And this is a good time too to back up for just a second and think to yourself, okay, what do I need? We're gonna add in some real fun splatters and whatnot towards the very end, but do I need to add in another flower somewhere, for example? Technically, I really like to have an uneven amount of flowers. I do have an uneven amount on the top and then uneven on the bottom, and I think I'm gonna be okay with that, but maybe you think I wanna add another flower somewhere, and please do that. Kind of look at this painting, or it's going to be a painting, and think to yourself, is there anything else that I want to add in? Do I maybe want to add in, I'm going to do another evergreen leaf right over here. Maybe too, you want to add in a beautiful, maybe some berries over on this leaf. So I'll add in a few there, coming out over here, some berries, or seed of some sort, and then I'll even go right in here. Just keep it fun. Again, this is, we're thinking about our word of the year or verse of the year. We'll end up putting that in the middle, or you could even, if you were maybe memorizing some poetry or a longer verse, you could even write that on the outside. There's lots and lots of options, and this will be a beautiful frame. Okay, now go ahead and grab your eraser, and again, I love this General's Tri-Tip eraser. I've got this one that's gotten worn down over the years. They last for a long time. And I'm gonna go ahead now and just gently erase all the pencil marks. I've got my micron pen where I want them, and that way I can start painting, and we are not gonna have the pencil marks showing through. So I'm gonna just gently come through here, erase all of the pencil marks. There we go. And oh, I had this one down here too, and I will go ahead and add in these as well. And of course, if we want to add in more, we certainly can add more detail in as well. I'm going to go ahead and add a few more things right there, and then go back. Anything that you think I'm not going to remember to add, that maybe leave that alone. You can always come back and erase after you painted. However, you just have to wait till it's super, super, super dry. And sometimes I find the paint, I don't know, it just doesn't, it's a little bit easier for me to erase right now. All right, so I'm just about done here. I'm sorry the camera's shaking just a little bit. Thought about turning it off, but I thought, you know what, this is gonna take me just a quick second. Okay, all right, so one more thing too. I have been playing with some colors beforehand, and a really nice way to think, are these colors gonna work, is just to play them out on here. So this is a warmer palette. So what I did is, this is the sap green, which is a definitely warmer green. This is an Antwerp blue. And this is that beautiful magenta that I love. Now what I started to do is I started to mix like the green and the blue to see my darker colors. This are my blue and my magenta, and this was, I think I had some Payne's gray mixed in, which I realized, or it was a lot of blue. So that might be a little bit more of an actual mix there. This is a bit of that gamboge, which I'm actually almost out of on my palette. I don't have any more, so I won't use too much of that one. And this is my burnt sienna. So this is more of again, a very warm color palette. And I was just looking and going, okay, I think what I want to do is, because I did want to incorporate a couple of different colors here, is we're just going to start lightly going around. And I'm going to start with that brown, and I'm going to go ahead and really lightly, I'm going to go on the branches down here, and then I'm actually going to go ahead and pick up some of my magenta. And I had gotten some other color in it. I think I did. All right, let me rinse it out really quick, and don't feel, feel free to, if you need to clean out your palette real quick and get those colors pure again. I know how that goes, especially when I'm mixing things on the palette, which I'm often doing. All right, there's my magenta. I'm actually gonna come back with my magenta and go right in over the brown a little bit, just like that. Okay, so now I'm also gonna take that magenta, and I am not sure, I think I'm gonna go ahead and I wanna create that right in the center of my flower. So where we were doing the flower faces, I'm gonna go ahead in here and just lay that down. And I'm going to go ahead then too, I'm actually going to just get a little bit of water then on my brush, and then come at the bottom of the flower and then just start layering down some of those petals. And we're going to create just a really soft outline here. Add a little bit more water if you think it's a little bit dark. You can even go right underneath your little flower face. And again, we're going to go off the power of suggestion to really create these lovely, loose, light flowers that are whispering the promise of spring, even as we are still here in the thick of winter, right? It is so wintry. All right, I'm going to come down here, and again, I haven't added any more color. I'm just using what is on my paintbrush. And where you think, okay, we would actually maybe be seeing a little bit more shadowing going on, or some colors that are hidden because of the way the light is on our flower. So I've grabbed some more paint. I'm going to come over here. Again, just coming around, looking at the different maybe petals around, moving around the flower here. Little outline there. And that looks really nice. Again, I'm not going in too heavy. Gonna grab a little bit more color where I want to show some depth where these flowers are, where there's some coloring, some shadowing peeking out, right? Okay, now I'm gonna even go, maybe my berries too are the same dark color. Maybe these are getting ready to blossom. And coming over here, again, I don't color in the berries completely. I let some white so that it looks like they're dancing, right? And we have that, letting that watercolor, the white, just play off of it. And I am being a little more hesitant in my colors because I wasn't sure with that green. I haven't used sap green in a while, but I love it, but it is an intense green. But I am gonna pick it up now. I'm gonna pick up that sap green, and I'm gonna go where I have my evergreen branches, and I'm going to just go ahead and I am going to go move first all the way down, and then those needles, just bringing them out and around. The needles almost come in like it's protecting that the inner stem. I'm going to come back and add in just a little bit more here, and going just down the middle, so letting the watercolor, the paint that's already there, travel around. I'll bring that in a little bit so you can see how that's coming down. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in. I'm going to pick up some blue, not a lot of blue. I'm going to add some extra water there. And I'm going to come in the leaves under here. I'm actually going to put a layer of blue here. And these guys over here. And then I'm going to come in with the green just to get a different look with these leaves. And I am just going one at a time. I'm going to leave my kind of loop-de-loops alone for just a second. Now I'm going to go ahead, grab some more of that green, and we are going to go back in. And there we go. Just again, a little bit more of a blue-green leaf. Not so intense, just moving this along. So we're still using the same colors, right? We're sticking to a similar palette. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit more of that blue, and I'm going to dab it in some of my my flowers too, using the same palette of colors, and that blue and the magenta go really nicely together. If you think, oh, it looks like a little bit too much blue, for example, up there, we can do a couple things. I can just let it sit, which I might do, but I can also come back and add in some more magenta. And right now, I'm really liking the look of this. Right now, everything is singing, right? It looks really, really nice. Okay, if you think anything looks too gray, so now I'm looking at it as it starts to spread out, and you think, just add in a little bit more magenta right over it. There we go. That looks really nice. Okay, moving on now. We've got down here, I'm gonna let this dry. I think I'm gonna pull in some more of the brown and the gamboge on my loop-de-loops, but we're gonna leave that for just a minute. The gamboge always has almost a golden quality to it, which I love. I'm gonna pick up that sap green again. I'm now gonna move down here to the bottom area and let me pull my camera back just a bit. And again, I'm hoping, when I'm looking at the time here, this might be about a 30-minute project. Something you can do maybe tonight after, the week at work, and you just want to do something that's very nice and chill, or maybe over the weekend, pull out your paints and a project you can complete. I really love finishing. I was cleaning out the studio yesterday, and coming across those projects that I hadn't finished. And that's always, I think to myself, do I want to complete them? Kind of a sense of a lack of satisfaction in those half-done things. So I'm working on finishing things this year. Okay. Okay, so continuing to look and evaluate where we're going here. Once again, I'm going to grab some of that blue, nice and light. We're going to go ahead, we're going to lay that down. It is a cooler blue, so that I like that because it's going to cool up our sap green just a little bit. I'm going to come right under here. I'm thinking too, underneath this flower, there's going to be some of that additional shadowing. I'm going to now go back to my sap green, and you'll have to let me know in the comments, do you like the sap green? Do you like the cooler green? It does have a very much a different look to it, right? Okay, so I'm just letting that just sit and dance with the blue there, and it looks bold. I like that though. I like that bold look. Sometimes sap green on its own looks a bit swampy, like we're just slogging through a swamp here. And I didn't want that open, so that's a lot of green, but that's actually okay. We're gonna just let that dance here. I'm gonna come back over here. Now I'm gonna come back over with these leaves that are higher up here. I do like that bold green against the purple. The more I look at it, I think, okay, this was a good decision. We are liking this. I'm gonna come back over here and go ahead and add some more green to show again where it's shadowing to, where that intense color would be settling down. Moving over here. Now maybe you want to go ahead over here and create some details of the stem, and just use your round tip to, you don't have to do every single line, but just a little bit. That just adds a little bit of detail. That, again, that power of suggestion is so pretty. We don't have to do all the details, just a couple of them. I've got a hair, or not a hair, a paintbrush loose, a little piece, and that can, we got that out. Okay, that can kind of give it that brush of mind of its own, huh? Okay, so this is looking really fun. I like the colors. There's not a ton of color, but the colors that we have are bold and beautiful. Okay, now this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna rinse off my brush. Rinse it off really, really, really good. And then if you have a cloth or a paper towel, just make sure that that green is completely off, because we don't want to mix it up with the gamboge. So either grab your gamboge, or if you have a cadmium yellow, that will work. Mix it with a little maybe orange. I have, I'm just gonna have what I have left. I'm literally eating it up off the sides. I'll show you my palette here. I'm gonna have, apparently I haven't been to the store in a while. I need to order some more gamboge. I went through all of my paints this morning, realized you are out, completely out. All right, now I'm gonna go with my little loop-de-loops up here. Again, make sure your tip is nice and pointy, and I am going to go ahead and just Go ahead on those loop-de-loops and just move them around. You do not have to stick to the micron pin. I mean, you just go ahead, and if you want to make them a little bit bigger, you certainly can. And then I realize I have some over here. Do I not have any more over here? And I think what I'll do is I'm going to have one coming up here and just a little loop almost going underneath my branches there. They give a nice accent, right? Nothing too big, nothing too splashy. And we had used the gamboge on our wash underneath, so bringing it in, incorporating it a little bit more, looks really nice. Another thing you might want to do with your gamboge is, or the whatever yellow orange that you might be using, is this always looks beautiful with your purple. So perhaps you want to put a little bit in your berries, for example, and give them a different color. And you can see as I come in closer here, I'll come down here and I am just tapping that in. Maybe you make them a little bit bigger, but it's a very complimentary look. And that's really nice. If you want to go back in with your flower even and just do a little bit of color, you can certainly do that. Just a little bit of a hint here. Almost a sun-kissed look on some of our flowers. Okay, I actually love this. This is definitely a different look than the bag, right? We put our own spin on it. We used the idea from the bag with the florals, the evergreens, plus the leaves. Plus we used our little loop-de-loops. I think it's so much fun to get inspiration from all sorts of places. I'm gonna let this completely dry now, and then I'm probably about done. Now, what are some things I might do? What I might do is if I wanted to add maybe a bit, so for example, in the bag, we had for like the little dots with the gold. You could certainly take a gold pen if we wanted to, and we could do some outlining in gold, which would be fun. I'm not sure if I want this particular one. I kind of like the natural look. I'm not sure if I need the kind of that glitzy look, but it would be a fun option if you're thinking I just want a little bit more bling in this. I am going to take my paint with the gamboge and I'll do some splattering, and I really like that. Let me bring this in a little bit more so you can see that. And splattering just adds a bit of personality, a bit of whimsy, a bit of fun to your painting. So again, I'll just do some here, some down below. I am intentionally doing it with the gamboge so it's not taking up. It's not like our splatter art where we're really doing a lot, right? We're just doing a little bit. I'm getting a little bit more on my little loop-de-loops, which I realize are a little bit pale over here. So we'll add a little bit more color in. There we go. Coming back in, coming back up so you can see that. I think that looks really nice. I think this is a lovely floral wreath. I will go ahead with this one. I think I will go ahead and write in a verse in the middle and then just show that to you. And it's just a beautiful, another way to use our creative gifts and desires in creating beautiful things. This would also make a lovely gift for someone. You could frame it and give it to them and brighten up a space in their home. So I hope you have a wonderful Friday, and I look forward to seeing you soon. I will be back next week. Have a wonderful weekend, you guys.